There are many unlucky anime adaptations that either get the shaft after a short 12 episode teaser that stops just when the series became interesting, or receive an all original ending that attempts to tie in any last loose ends in a pretty little bow and walk off whistling. My Hero Academia is neither. After a solid first season by Studio Bones, the series became a quick hit and work on a second season started almost immediately. And it's by no means surprising, as despite its short running time, season 1 presented us with a rich world filled with intriguing fellas. With another season finished and the third one is currently airing, it can be safely said that Bones is going strong and with no breaks. But one question remains: does this second season of My Hero Academia deliver? Or is it an utter disappointment that crumbles at its precursor's foundations? Thankfully, it's former. So, as always, let's start with story and characters. I am not going to bother with rehasing the synopsis and premise of Hiroaka as I have already covered it in my review for the first season, which you are free to read or ignore as you like. But before truly crashing in, let me just warn you that my review will assume that you have watched season first and are familiar with the story thus far. Hero Waka Season 2 continues where the first series left off, with Deku and his classmates continuing their training to become pro heroes. On a whole, not a lot has changed since last season, and if you have liked what its prequel had to offer, then you will enjoy Hero Aka Season 2 as well, perhaps even more so than the opening season. If the first season of Hero Aka laid down the foundations of the premise and the story, the second season goes into overdrive and never really stops. With an established setting and double the length of its predecessor, Hero Aka Season 2 can finally focus on the real meat of the show, the story and the characters. Hero Aka Season 2's strongest asset is without a doubt its stronger emphasis on character development, while Season 1 focused on Midoriya. This time around, the show gives many of his classmates the chance to shine. Both Ochako and Lida, after their introduction in the previous season, get significant amounts of development as their motivations and life goals are brought to light. Alongside them, we have Shoto Todoroki, one of the show's most popular characters, and for a good reason. For being such a complex and conflicted personality, whose development thanks to Midoriya is one of the highlights of the season's early stages. And as the season continues, we get more context and meet for many of the other members of the cast as they go through their own struggles and ambitions. Granted, not every kid gets an equal amount of screen time, but this time around the vast majority of them gets a lot more time to be fleshed out properly. And I can safely say that each of them feels like a whole new world waiting to be discovered, just like we got to discover Midoriya. As for our main leads Deku and Bakugo, the former has grown considerably into a more confident and powerful boy, while the latter begins showing more hidden sides to him. On a personal level, Bakugo himself leads to what is, in my opinion, one of the most heartbreaking moments in the entire season thus far, where we get to see how far he is willing to go to achieve success. The story itself has finally taken to full swing, and after a fantastic tournament arc that puts to shame so many others of its kind, our young heroes get a taste of true fear: Stain. Stain, dubbed the hero killer, is one of the most interesting and complex antagonists I have ever seen in a while. Disgusted with how sold out and hypocritical the hero society has become, he began a crusade to clean by himself, killing and injuring numerous heroes in the process. It's through his character that we see an uglier side to the world we have been so invested thus far. How the idea of being a hero has developed into a profession dominated by media coverage and popularity, and how heroes themselves are sometimes a little more than just celebrities who care about fame than actual heroism. Stain's actions serve to fix that issue, and if it wasn't for his rather questionable deeds, he might have been an outstanding anti-hero. But even then, he's downright amazing. Now, my only actual issue with the story so far is that, just like the previous season, Hero Waka Season 2's villains are somewhat left in the dust. We have already established their desire to eliminate All Might last season, but beyond that, we only get some glimpses and cameos rather than anything truly substantial. Granted, both Stain's hero killer arc and the final episodes expand this so-called League of Villains goals and individuals, but it still leaves much to be desired. That aside, I can't think of any more negative thing to say. This season is supreme improvement of its predecessor's solid skeleton with excellent, rounded and relatable characters and an intriguing narrative that tackles questions at the genres it belongs to. Now, let's talk about the animation and art. As with season 1, Bones is once again the animated studio behind Hero Aka season 2. But this time around, I'd say that their work is far more consistent than what it was in season 1, with even some of the smaller fights and action scenes here make the first season pale in comparison. The visuals are vivid and kinetic, with every little dip in the quality throughout the season's 25 episodes and an amazing level of fluidity to it that Bones are known for in their more action-y titles. From Todoroki's flashy iron, ice and fire techniques to 10-year speed attacks, Draku's mastery over his quirk, Hero Aka Season 2 is one hell of a gorgeous series. In my eyes, it really brings Bones back to A-class team of anime studios after several disappointing and mostly forgettable shows that plagued the studio for several years. Stain's design is also freaking awesome. Now, let's talk about audio and sound. Now, this is the part where I mourn the loss of the day as Hiro Aka's opening theme. While Peace Sign is a pretty good opening and Sora ni Utaiba is tolerable, I personally feel like they don't fit Hiro Aka as well as the day was. Now, obviously that's probably an excellent way to start some idiotic fan war on the internet, so I'll just leave it at that. Personally, none of the ending themes did it to me, although I do love the aesthetics of the second ending Because He's My Hero by Lisa. As for the soundtrack, it's still just as good as it was in season 1, with energetic tunes and heroic beats, although Jet Set Run, a follow-up theme to Yuseran, is a lot less memorable than its precursor. My favorite track overall is a lyrical version of My Hero Academia dubbed as Just Another Hero. It's sang in English and serves as a sort of semi-official theme to the character of Endeavor, the second highest rated pro hero and the father of Todoroki. While Endeavor's character may not be the most likable fella in the show, and for good reasons, this theme song gives hints to hidden aspects of his personality and actually made me interested seeing how he will evolve in future seasons. As for the voice acting, it's still as good, if not better, as the first season. Justin Reiner and Christopher Sabat will do wonderful job as Deku and All Might, but it's really the other members of the cast that steal the spotlight. Lucy Christian and GM Tatum finally get their chance to shine as Otaku and Lita in some of the more emotional scenes of the series, and that's without getting to Clifford Chapman's phenomenal work as Bakugo and David Matranga's super performance as Todoroki. Now, let's move on to the final verdict. Back when I first watched My Hero Academia's first season, I was rather pleasantly surprised by the quality of the writing and the likability of the characters. But its short running meant that lack of growth for the majority of its cast, as well as very little furthering in the larger narrative. Hero Aka Season 2 has all the strength of its predecessor and nearly none of its weaknesses. The longer running time allows for significant developments in its broader cast that subsequently gives much needed depth to some of the more well-known students, while also showing that every single one of those characters has the same chance to be just as interesting as complex as Deku, Bakugo or Todoroki. As far more consistent animation and some truly creative and thought-provoking plot lines only enhance it. While the larger scale narrative is still only given hints, strong character drama and clever study of the superhero genre more than make up for it. It has its flaws, but those are few and far between. Hero Aka Season 2 is a brilliant show that blows its first season out of the water. It is a more confident, more polished that merges well-worn tropes with fresh ideas, and has more heart to it on one episode than most shonen anime have through 50. If you love character-driven stories, few can hold a candle to My Hero Academia. So, those were my opinions for the My Hero Academia Season 2. If you like this video, do hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more such content. Also, drop down your thoughts in the comment box below, and I will also try to make a third video about why you should watch My Hero Academia Season 3. So yeah, that's it for this video. If you like, do hit the subscribe button, and bye bye, take care.